Hello, my name is David and I'm currently studying civil engineering at Toronto Metropolitan University, or TMU for short. I wanted to share my experience on what it's like being a first year and maybe help out some people who chose engineering as a career pathway. First, let's make it clear. Engineering is a hard program and you need to treat it as a 9 to 5 job. If you think you can BS your coursework, you're sadly mistaken. You should pick another program if that's the case. With that warning out the way, let's get started. First semester covers the common engineering courses all engineers must take. In general, many of the courses done during first year reveal some past topics learned in high school. First off, we deal with the mechanics portion of physics. It deals with things like force, torque, and momentum in both the 2D and 3D space. In my opinion, I found mechanics to be the hardest course during first semester, so make sure to study a lot and practice on the homework questions. On to Calc 2, it deals with limits, derivatives, and integration. In my opinion, I found Calc 1 pretty straightforward. As long as you keep up with the topics, you should be fine. Then there's chemistry. It deals with different types of reactions, types of bonds, rate of reactions, gas laws, electrochemistry, thermochemistry, and much more. I found this course pretty material heavy, so you want to do well on the theory section of the course, make sure to read the textbook to understand the topics covered. After that, there's Intro to Engineering. Out of all the courses, this is the easiest. It's a basic course that dives deep into different types of engineering. It also teaches you how to work with peers, especially during reports, which you have to use IEEE to reference. And you have to learn engineering software such as MATLAB for graphical and mathematical analysis. Finally, there's linear algebra, where you learn vectors, scalars, matrices, dot products, and cross products. I found the starting portion of the course pretty easy, but just make sure that you don't fall behind as the topics get harder later on. Overall, first semester was pretty stressful. As throughout COVID in high school, I've never had a chance to do a real exam. Poor study habits and unpreparedness led to my first failure, as I gained a 47% on my first midterm. After seeing those grades, I was feeling really down at that time. I had a lot of doubts on whether I was able to continue my studies. Eventually, I had to face reality, and honestly, that failure was a blessing in disguise. It was a wake-up call for me. I knew I had to do something or else I would just fail, so I adapted my learning and improved the way I studied. Instead of passively reading my notes, I would practice on textbook questions. Instead of erasing wrong answers, I would analyze where I went wrong. Instead of working on one class at a time, I would spread out my time use. Not to mention, I started to take my mental health seriously and give my mind the sleep it needed. In the end, I was able to improve my grades and maintain consistent results, gaining a term average of 3.8. Aside from those stresses, I was able to make many friends along the way, and honestly, that made university much more bearable. Small moments where you have small chat, studying together, or going out after an exam are really the moments you cherish after you graduate, so try to make the most of it.
I gotta study that next year. Not even next year. That is trying to tell
Moving to second semester, it still covers the common engineering courses, but now there are some specialized classes that deals with your stream. Starting off, we deal with the waves and fields portion of physics. It deals with the motion of waves, gravity, electric and magnetic fields. Honestly, I found this portion of physics much easier than the mechanics portion, but there is a lot of formulas you must memorize in order to do well in this course. Then we have Calc 2, which deals with integration by parts, series, and multivariable calculus. Through my experience, I found series pretty challenging as there was a lot of tests that you have to memorize in order to prove if a series converges or diverges. Then there's engineering economics. It teaches engineers the basics of economics to explain why some projects are feasible and some are not. There are many topics you must go through in this course, and the most challenging I found was cash flow diagrams. Moving along, I had to take a comp sci course which taught me how to code in C. This was the one course that stumped me during second semester. I had such a hard time grasping the concept of pointers and memory allocation. It did not help that for the majority of the course, my professor often used slides to teach the material, which did not fit in with my learning style as I'm much more of a whiteboard learner. Other than that, I also had a favorite class, which was my graphics class. It taught you how to use AutoCAD, but also the standards used in buildings, wood, concrete, and steel drawings. As you can see here, this was my term project of designing an intersection. I had most fun designing the street lamps and especially the road markings. Finally, there's material science, which applies chemistry to real-world applications for materials such as polymers, composites, ceramics, and metals. Honestly, for this course, just pray you have a good professor because during second semester, I had to learn this whole course by myself, which was very painful and not fun. And that's it! It was so difficult to manage 6 courses, and burnout was something I often faced during finals. I was so mentally drained that I cramped study days the day before each final. In all honesty though, I think my hard work paid off in the end, and I was able to maintain the same results as I did before. I think the most important thing in engineering is not whether if you're smart or not, but whether if you can stick it through and not give up in the end. I think that whenever you struggle with something, I think it's important to reach out and ask others for help. And I think that's what got me through first year. If you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want, you can watch these other videos showing down here.